This Sunday is special for two reasons. First, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and like a lot of rabid football fans here in the U.S., I'll be celebrating and rooting for one of my favorite teams, which just happens to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Sorry, all you L.A. fans. But on Sunday, it's also special because I'll be celebrating my 4-year anniversary as a YouTuber. And yes, you can guess, it has been a long and winding road to get to over 1 million views and 25,000 subscribers. And along the way, I learned the rules. I learned what not to do. I learned what you must do. But I also learned what you should do if you want to be successful, if you want to make money on this platform. In this video, I'm going to share what I call the golden rules of starting a YouTube channel in 2022. And to do that, to share these incredible rules, I enlisted Alysha Ellis. Alysha's a good friend. She's a respected entrepreneur who tells it straight, and thank God for that. But she's also a content creator, and she has a YouTube channel. Alysha and I, we did a Zoom call earlier this week. We talked about the golden rules, and today I'm excited to introduce you to Alysha, the ultimate entrepreneur. But I'm also really excited to share the golden rules of starting a YouTube channel in 2022, and that, my friends, that is up next. Come on. Hi, welcome back to Side Hustle Rules. This is Reyes, and today I am with Alysha Ellis. And as I mentioned in the opening, Alysha is the ultimate entrepreneur, and I don't think I'm really throwing too much accolades on this person because I truly admire what she's done with her business. Alysha, welcome to Side Hustle Rules.
Thank you, Lou. It's super excited to have the opportunity to join your platform and talk about, side hustle rules and all the knowledge that you have. It's going to be a great conversation.
I know you've got a YouTube channel. What is your YouTube channel called?
Alysha Ellis. People can follow me there and subscribe to my channel. My theme is really capturing people's stories. So I have a couple of different multimedia outlets that I do. I love doing positive message to encourage entrepreneurs and other creators and innovators in this space to keep going, right? It's tough times even right now as we pushing out of this pandemic in 2022, but I love to send encouraging messages. I like to share resources, and I love to amplify our voices through sharing our stories.
Yeah, and I think you're doing a really good job of that, Alysha. So let's start with, what would we do in 2022? And number one, I will tell you this. What I did in the beginning was I kind of did what I would call hyper niching. I tried to focus on a niche for sure, but I think I may have gone a little bit too nichey. And that's one of those things where it's like, I wish I wouldn't have done this, or I would probably change this. So I would look at doing a niche. I think as a niche is important, but I wouldn't try to go down too small. And that, I think, is something that I've seen. Well, it was a philosophy people had, and it's something I see people doing. What do you think about a niche?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think when it comes to business, that's like one of the first things, like a lot of business programs or accelerator things, they ask, like, what is your niche? And sometimes a lot of creators, just because of who we are, and you can relate to this, Lou, in your marketing background, you think everyone's your client. And the same thing applies to the YouTube channel. Not everyone is going to view your channel. Not everyone is going to subscribe. It's good to have a niche, but you don't want to give too specific. You don't want to get too down as it relates to content, not so much your business model, but as it relates to content, because then you box yourself in a way. And I think you put in a really great way of, how to create that niche, and then also how to grow on different niches and different platforms.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you just said box in, because I say that all the time to people. So here's another thing. Since we're talking about niches, one of the things that I find is real important on a YouTube channel is there's actually two things, and this is number two, and there's a part A and a part B. Part A would be educate. That's part A. Part B is entertain. And I find that the channels that are really the most successful, the persona, whoever is talking, the host, they're entertaining, and they're also educating, and because that's a lot of the reason, or much of the reason, that people come on YouTube. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the things I get challenged with, because you're so passionate about whatever you're speaking, and sometimes you forget to be entertaining, be welcoming, be friendly, in the sense of the content that you're sharing. So I always have to be mindful. I put my tips up on the screen. One is like smiling, right? Because sometimes I get so focused and zoned in on the topic, I forget to smile. Another one, I believe I love to be entertaining in the sense of like comedy, you know, making jokes or sharing stories to make them relatable to whoever's listening and engaging with me on my platforms. So those are two tips I like to apply.
I totally agree with you there. You know, something that I did, and when I started out, and I really did this a lot in the first year, which was I didn't get to the point quick enough. You know, I thought, well, I'm going to get on YouTube, introduce myself, talk about what I've done, and then eventually 2 or 3 minutes into the video, I get to the point. And I got to tell you, a lot of people who would watch my videos and they comment and say, get to the point, man. And they would actually look at the video, they time it, and they'd say, you can get to the point till 3 minutes and 17 seconds of your video. So getting to that point is real important. Nobody wants to know all the backstory. They want to get to business. And I'm sure you see the same thing.
Definitely. Like, how do you practice getting to the point? Because I know as content developers, it's tough, right? It's tough to get right through because you also want to build the context of whatever you're sharing. So how do you focus on getting straight to the point, Lou?
Well, you know what? It's just like with this video here. You know, when we started, I basically did a short intro. I talked about you for a few seconds or so. And then I just got to the point, you know, like you got to kind of force yourself to do it. So that's a really good question. You got to force yourself. So let's get to a little bit of the technical stuff. I guess I'd say almost technical, but I want to talk about like equipment. You know, when we first talked before we started getting these cameras going here, you asked me what equipment I use. And for this a shoot like this, I always use my iPad, and I use it for a variety of reasons that I like. But one thing about shooting, especially if you're starting out, I would not go out and buy expensive equipment right away. I'd use your iPhone or in this case, you can use your iPad. But whatever you do, you've got to create good, I would just say, video that looks real good. And I don't care what kind of camera you're using. Just make sure it looks good. And that's a tip. I say maybe, what is that, number 4?
Yeah, no, that one's good. Definitely that visual. I think for a while I was shooting on my phone. I had an outdated iPhone. Now I upgraded a couple months ago, been using that. And you can see the difference in the sharpness of the shoots that I'm doing with that video. I was able to purchase a really nice camera. Not the greatest, but it definitely was an upgrade to what I was using on the other camera. And I would definitely agree that visual standpoint and having that clear background, your camera lens being real cleaned off. And I wanted to bring this on. These are really good, these type of towels, along with the ones to clean your glasses. I always make sure, and I did this before we jumped on, I made sure I clean my camera lens with my computer with this, because, you know, sometimes there might just be some type of dust or a fingerprint, and that can really impact the quality of your recording. So, you know, these are like, you could buy one of these for like $1, and then those lens cleaners are on, you know, Amazon and everywhere else. But those are a couple of things that I like to do, like just to make sure that I eliminate anything that could possibly, you know, make my video blurry or add something on there that doesn't give me the greatest quality that it could produce.
But, you know, in addition to the visual, you've got to have great sound. And it's so funny we're talking, because I've got this mic here that I bought. It was cost me, the whole setup for the mic and the stand was over $1,000. But it's worth it, because for this, now I'm not using this mic for this iPad because it's not really necessary. We're speaking pretty close, and I think we're fine.
Just real quick on the audio, I purchased this mic, but as I do my podcast, I have a podcast, our Hustle Corner podcast. I'll put my plug in there, on streaming on all platforms. But it was very challenging early on to get a good, sharp audio. I know that the first couple episodes, and people who ever listen, they'll notice as the episodes grow, my audio gets a lot better.
Here's another thing though, editing. Do you edit your videos?
I do edit. It's not my favorite thing to do. I'd rather not edit, but you know, you kind of have to wear multiple hats as you are a solo entrepreneur early on.
Yeah. What I also recommend people do is watch other YouTubers, watch what they do, not just listen to them, but look at what they're doing, what they're practicing. I do think you should edit your videos. In a way I learned editing was I watched other YouTubers. I saw what they recommended. I saw kind of the tricks and the tricks that they use to create video.
Yeah, the editing piece is not always the funnest, but it's necessary. I also like utilizing the live platforms too. You know, sometimes being a little unfiltered and unedited can bring more realistic attributes to your platform too. So I always like to throw in a couple live videos as well to kind of get, sometimes it gets a little filtered as you edit, but I think a mixture of both, it produces that, being relatable to your audience as well.
Here's another thing, and I don't know if you have this or not, but I recommend this as another one of these steps. I think there's like 9 or 10 total here today, but I think getting an app like a TubeBuddy or a VidIQ. Do you use either one of those?
I don't. I know you were talking about this before we jumped on. No, I don't use any of those. I'm definitely gonna look into them and seeing how to utilize those resources.
One of the things I think you do this, Alysha, is a tagline. Everybody should have a tagline in the intro of their video and at the end of the video. I think you do that though, because I've heard you, and it seems like you say the same thing all the time. It's like a tagline.
Yeah, no, my tagline with Larae is never miss a beat, stay mic'd up with Larae. So it's the whole mic'd up. You'll see logos with it. It's being mic'd up with Larae. That's become my tagline. And I love it because it obviously incorporates the mic, the platform, the sharing your story, the podcast, and all those elements that our platform produces on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, mic'd up is my tagline, and I kind of add a couple of different things depending on what it's doing.
So here's the last one, and I think this one is number 10. Upload often. Now, it used to be people would say, and I remember looking at videos of people who know what they're talking about, who would say, yeah, you could upload once a week. The truth is, what we find now, because the YouTube is just so crowded, you've got to upload a minimum of twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week.
Yeah, and that's something I got to get better with. That's 100%. I think I use a lot of different platforms. YouTube is something I want to strengthen within my platform and my diversity and how I reach different audiences. So you guys are going to be seeing more of me in my video posts, because Lou is definitely giving some great tips today on what you would do in 2022 for, taking your YouTube channel to the next level.
Yeah, there's always a lot more stuff, but these are really the 10 basic things that I think every YouTuber should follow if you're really going to start a new YouTube channel in 2022. Well, Alysha, I really want to thank you for coming on our show today, our program.
Yeah.
I value your opinion and your judgment. So having someone like you on with me, yeah, man, it makes it just for a great program. And I really believe it's an educational program and hopefully somewhat entertaining as well.
Thank you. No, thank you, Lou. It was really great. I want to get one more tip. Can I get one more tip for the YouTube?
Please do.
I would say customize your channel. That's one thing I practiced a lot in 2021. Have a intro video, because it's the first video people see on your channel. Welcome them to your channel, ask them to subscribe, welcome, just be more welcoming entertainment. I think that's something that's really key that I wish I would have did really early on, but it's something I have up there now. So for all you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on mine. I appreciate it.
No, that's a good idea. Believe me, I totally agree with you. So your channel is Alysha Ellis. And how do you spell Alysha? Because I spelled your name a couple different ways when I first met you.
Yeah, the story of my life. No, Alysha, my name is spelled Alysha, and Ellis is Ellis. You can just, type in my name there. You'll see a bunch of videos from different interviews I've done over the years, but my channel will come up on that search as well.
Cool. Well, Alysha, thanks again. I really appreciate you being with us here today.
Thanks, Lou. Appreciate you.